Hello, hello. Welcome to Share Tuesdays.
Hello, hello.
I have the queen. I'm giving the titles today. Okay. So don't be like, oh, Vanilla, you being all extra. It's okay. That's what I do sometimes. So I have the queen of finances, the dividend diva, Karen Y. Williams. How are you doing today, Soror?
I am doing amazing. I'm having a great day today.
Oh, well, that's good. That's fabulous. And the weather is nice over there where you are.
It is, the weather in Texas is, if you don't like it, wait 5 minutes. So it was thunder this morning and it's sunshine right now. So
Okay. So you can't complain. Can't complain.
no, no.
Well, that's perfect. So I want to say thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule because you are a busy woman. Let's just you have several hats that you wear. If people do not know or heard about Karen Y. Williams, just keep living. You just that's the best thing I can say. Yes. So with the dividend deal, can we start from the beginning?
Okay.
Where did this title come from?
Well, let's start at the very beginning.
Okay.
I have always had a passion for personal finance, and I am kind of a third generation Black girl financier. So my grandmother is very financially wise. She's still alive at 98. And my mom was financially savvy. And so my mom taught me what she knew as well as my grandmother. And so I've always had a passion for money and finance. And then I went to college and figured out that everyone's parents didn't do for me what my parents did in terms of financial literacy and education.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2012, I decided to kind of formalize my education. And when I finished the class, I decided to name my business the Dividend Diva. I wanted it to speak to money, but also kind of speak to my personality, which is, a little fashionista, a little, over the top. So the Dividend Diva.
Okay. Because you are a diva. I might say, just add that. You're
I
an
toned it down a little bit today, but yes, I'm usually over the top.
yes, you usually are. Typically, you are. So as long as I've been knowing you for, it's been 21 and a half years. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's I've always seen you as a diva. So that title fits you. So you come from a history and a culture background of learning about finances, and with your mother and also your grandmother. I think that really speaks volumes because nowadays we don't, and I'm going to say we as the people, we don't typically have that. Um, I'll say foundation maybe to where we
Right.
have a lot of generations that are teaching us about the wealth and what we need to do in regards to our finances. And you mentioned when you went off to college, because one thing that I don't know if it happened during your time, but during my time, when you first go to college, you have all these people trying to get you to apply for credit cards.
Oh, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I think it's, well, the first thing is you can't teach what you don't know.
Mm,
So in a lot of communities of color, they don't know the basics of financial literacy. And survival makes you do things that may not be in your best interest, right?
mhm.
Payday loans, predatory loans, things like that. So you can't necessarily teach what you don't know. So you end up making a mistake. Um, it takes a while to get out of it, if you even know how to get out of it. And then you pass those lessons on to the next generation, right? You can't squeeze blood out of a turnip. You're gonna die with some debt, so you might as well you perpetuate that. Um, and so, we all hit the campus and they are handing out credit cards and we'll give you a free phone if you do this or free
Yeah.
this, And so it kind of starts that cycle of debt. My mom was very specific with me, do not get a credit card. I will write you out of if you get, I mean, she was very
Oh, okay.
specific that I didn't know enough to do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I still made some financial mistakes, but they were limited, because I had, kind of a mentor in that area. So that debt can start usually right in early adulthood. And if you don't do anything to correct it, it lasts a lifetime. And so,
Mm.
I've really tried to interrupt that pattern with the people that I work with.
Okay. Okay. I like that. And I wish I would have had that knowledge. Like, don't get that credit card because we wanna have the freedom to do what we want to do. We don't think about, well, how am I gonna pay this credit card off? And I'm not
Yes,
working.
right.
We don't.
Or is it really worth it?
Right.
Like, is it, if I buy a sweater, and not, lately I see it, pink is very popular. I see a lot of people with Victoria's Secret credit cards when they come to, kind of work with me. So if I pay $100 for a sweater at 29% interest that I may wear once or twice, because I live in a warm weather state or whatever it is, do
Hmm.
I still want to be paying? Do I want to pay 30% interest on something? Because a store card is going to be about 30%, 29.5, 27.5. Is it worth it? And then if I did the same thing and invested my money, what would it look like, 20, 30 years from now? So, it's just asking yourself the question, is it worth it?
Is it
Can I
worth?
wait? Can I wait 2 weeks and pay cash? Um, can I get it at a discount? Can I thrift it? Can I be creative? Can I shop in my own closet? All those questions are things we can ask before we saddle ourselves with debt. Because at the end of the day, I tell people I'd rather it be good than look good.
I'd rather it be good than look good. And I'm taking notes. I brought my
Yeah,
little.
I ain't mad at you.
I may run out of paper. Okay. But I'm taking notes because people pay for what they want,
Yeah.
and it may not necessarily be an investment.
Hmm.
But if you look at, like you said, the long-term goal instead of just satisfying your desire right now,
Right.
um, like you can look at things a little bit differently. So be good. Wait, say that part again. I missed the sentence. I missed
Yeah,
the
I would rather it be good than look good,
then
right?
look good. There we
So
go.
if you have a 12-year-old Camry, right? But you have, you know, $20,000 in the bank, or do you want a 2023 BMW with $1,000 a month car note? I'd rather it be good. I'd rather you be financially solvent, have a emergency fund in the bank, have a reliable car that's paid for, or that has a minimal payment, than to have the most extravagant depreciating assets you can find. So I'd
Mm,
rather it be good. You know what I mean?
right.
Um, I would rather you be maxing out your retirement vehicles than to be driving a depreciating vehicle. You see what I mean? There's a difference. And so when you have money in the bank, you make decisions differently. You don't make decisions under pressure. You don't make decisions under duress, because you have ample resources to address what comes up. So it takes some deprogramming, because normally we want to look the part. We want people to see that we've done well, but wealth isn't always visible.
Mm. Wealth isn't always visible, but we live in a society where it's, I have to see
Yes,
it.
yes,
I
yes,
don't I don't believe it until I see it.
yes.
And we're not even gonna talk about the fast money. So we're just gonna leave that. We're gonna leave that alone. That's a whole nother segment. So we'll
That's
leave.
another Tuesday. That's another Tuesday.
Right. That's another thing. But with financial, let's talk to. Oh my gosh! I just realized I made a mistake on that name. Sorry. Um, let's talk about the our youth, and then we'll say my generation.
Okay.
So speaking to our youth, because I know you have some teenagers,
I
um,
do.
And I know that they are already financially sound, because I remember seeing, um it was a few years back, your daughter, her business, I can't think of the name, it was a cleaning business or something of that nature.
My son has he has a power washing business.
Oh, I had it backwards. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yes, and I remember you were saying, we're starting off early, and he needs to
Mhm,
start making some money because he wants to have this and he wants to have that. And I was
mhm.
like, wow. Now that's a different way of parenting, to where you're giving them the entrepreneurship mindset of,
Yes,
hey, let's do something that you would like to do that can be um, lucrative for your business.
that's right. That's
So
right.
with the youth, what are some tips that you can give our young individuals now?
Well, one, I want them to ask questions. If you don't understand something about money, I want you to ask questions. And they have more information at their fingertips than we've ever had. So there's a really great website called Investopedia. If you ever want to, a definition of a financial term, you can use Investopedia, right? So you can go ahead and you can say, what is it? What is a dividend? What is a stock? What is a bond? What is interest? What is compounding interest? And that site will define it for you. But my kids are still teenagers. They still want to eat Raisin Canes and chicken, Chick-fil-A every day. And, they want to buy tennis shoes and stuff like that with their money. But I wanted them to have some basic financial concepts. I wanted them to learn to tithe early because they are the beneficiaries of a tithing lifestyle. I wanted them to learn money management, putting 10% away for tithes, putting 10% away for savings, and then, having money to spend. I wanted them to understand that they did not have to work for somebody else. I worked for someone else and I retired. I still work for another company, although I have my own, but I wanted them to know that it was possible for them to never have to work for anyone. I didn't want to create that fear in them that I have to get a job and I have to work for somebody else. You can be your own boss. And so I wanted them to have the freedom to make that decision in this generation. My husband and I decided to pay the price so that they could live a different financial life in their generation.
I like that. So the
Mhm.
10% for tithes. Now, we may have some individuals that are not familiar with that
Okay.
term. So can you educate?
So, I'm a Christian, but I have clients that are not. I believe that charity is basically the rent we pay to stay on the earth. So I have some clients that are not members of churches, and tithe is like this 10% donation that you make to your local church. Or I have some people that make it to local charities. They don't go to church, but they support the local food bank or the women's shelter or whatever they choose to do. I just think you have to get it out of your hand.
Hmm.
Tithing teaches you other things, though. Some people, I'm not giving my money to the church. Well, that's okay. But what it does is it disciplines you, because if you give 10% away, that means you're learning to live on less than what you make. And most people are overextended. They need 120% because their credit cards are maxed out. They have school loans, they have payday loans, they have personal loans. So you're living on more than that. So when you tithe, first of all, you're disciplining yourself to save, to live on less than 100%. Well, then when you save another 10% for savings, investment, retirement, whatever that is, then you're learning to live on 80. And if you eliminate debt, then you'll find that it may only cost you 20 or 30% of what you bring home to actually live when you don't have a car note, when you don't have a student loan, when you don't have credit cards. Because when you add it all up, you're saying, wow, $2,000 a month is going out in all of these bills.
Right.
And I own my living expenses are pretty minimal, right? Gas, light, water, and
Cable.
property taxes,
Hmm.
right? Yeah. But basic stuff, Hulu or whatever. So it's a great lesson, but I wanted them to learn that some of your blessings come from being a blessing to others. You can't keep it all. And so it's easier to teach a child a concept than, adults once they've made up their mind or something has happened that really kind of roots an idea there. So they were kind of raised to, I used to have an envelope system for them, and they would put, I would give them their allowance in singles, and they would have to put something in this envelope for tithes, this envelope for savings, and then this envelope for spending. And so they still use that. My son uses, his Cash App as his savings and his checking, so they're learning. They're learning.
Okay. I like that. I like that. Yeah. So 10% for tithing or charity.
Yeah.
Okay. And then 10% for the savings.
So yes, that's the basic equation. 10, 10, 80. If a person is just starting to, kind of recreate their finances, I give them that equation. Now it can get bigger. You know what I mean? You may grow to where you can max out everything and you're saving half and, living off half. It can change. But if you don't know where to start, 10, 10, 80. You still get 80% of your money. But so many people do not have emergency funds. So many people don't have any savings. Anything more than $1,000, it's a GoFundMe. It's no insurance. I got to call my, family member that kind of manages money well. So 10, 10, 80 is a great place to start.
So I have a question. Is an emergency fund and savings two different things?
So, oh gosh. Now, I'll give you a disclaimer. Okay. I am a pretty avid saver. I'm a saver. But what I tell people is I would have at least two savings accounts. Okay. One is long-term savings. One is short-term savings. And in your short-term savings account, I would have about $1,000 to $2,000. If you have a family of, more than two, I would say $2,000, right? Mm-hmm. So if something breaks, if you need a tire, if you need to fix the washer and dryer, if the garbage disposal goes out, you can fix those things with that $2,000. And then your long-term savings is your emergency fund. That is 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. If it costs you $5,000 a month to live, then your first goal is to have 3 months of savings. That's $15,000. And so I say that's long-term. That's if something drastic happens. If there's an illness, if you get laid off, if if something happens, if there's a death in the family or someone gets ill and you need to go, stay with them for a month, you have some living expenses where your whole life isn't turned upside down because you miss one paycheck. And so a budget is, planning that out, having 10% go here, 10 is just you telling your money what to do. And you'll be surprised at how you feel when something happens and you have the resources to address it.
Mm-hmm. That is, I appreciate you breaking it down because, and I'm just going to share a little bit because I share every time about my whole cancer journey. And, when you go in thinking that I'm just going to be out for 6 weeks, I just need to heal. And then they come back and say, oh no, it's cancer, it's going to be something else. So then those emergency funds and their short-term savings really, really play a part. And I'll be truthful, I did not have either one of those at that time. So it's kind of like, what in the world to do when you have all these expenses and then medical bills on top of medical bills on top of medical bills. What are your thoughts about the short-term disability and the short-term disability and like long-term disability? Do you feel like it's feasible to pay into those things to where you can, even like Aflac, to even pay into those where you can benefit and receive funds back when you're going through things like this?
Okay. Well, I will tell you, I'm pretty transparent, and I don't know who's watching tonight, but you and I are both members of the best sorority on the planet, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. So one of the things that we have at Sigma Gamma Rho is the opportunity for our members to have AFLAC policies. And I'm a big believer in supplemental insurance. I'm a big believer in insurance. Insurance is basically is transferring the risk from you personally to the company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I will be transparent. I am a child of cancer. So cancer has been pretty prevalent in my family. So I lost my dad in 1994 to prostate cancer. So I kind of learned about cancer loss very early. My dad died 1 week after I graduated from college. I had a couple uncles that died of cancer. My mom was a 26-year cancer survivor. And I have a brother that passed away from lung cancer. So I'm a child that has, quite a bit of cancer experience.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got my first job here in Houston, I bought AFLAC over, almost 30 years ago now. And I kept it. And
Mm-hmm.
I've had it the whole time. And so I've had several incidents. I've had surgeries and they've paid out. My children were in a devastating car accident last year. I sent in my receipts. They sent me, support, money because it comes to you. I've always had a disability policy, short term, things like that. I've always tried to insure the risk to make sure that if something happened that, my family and I would not be we would have as much resources as we could afford to insure. And so I really do. And you don't know when catastrophic things are going to happen, right? You
True.
don't know. And so you want to have money for the copay. As well as I do, when you have cancer, the copays aren't even the biggest expense. The parking, just going back and forth to the hotel, and if you have to leave out of town to go to a cancer center or something, flights and hotels and, all of that adds up. So as much as you can insure your risk. So if you have those policies at work and it's $20 or $30 for cancer, those of you who are members of our organization, reach out and get yourself an AFLAC policy. It's a great benefit for our members. So I strongly suggest you do it.
Oh my God. And you've had your policy for over 30 years?
I have had policy. I have had accident, cancer, critical illness, long-term disability since 1996.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're portable policies, so they'll go with you. So even when I retired, I kept the policies and brought them over with me. But I was, and my mom was a widow for almost 30 years. Mm-hmm. So from 1994 until my mom just passed away last year in 2022, she was a widow. But because they were smart financially and they were wise and strategic, she never needed to borrow a dollar from anybody. She was taken care of until she was 80 years old. And so I think that we have to think 3 steps down the road. We can't just spend everything we have, every 2 weeks when we get paid.
Right.
Yeah.
That is true. And that was a big struggle of mine when I got into the career phase, or well, I'm gonna say in college, because in college I had like 2 or 3 jobs. I've always had 2 or 3 jobs. I don't know why, but I've always had at least 2 or 3 jobs, and at times it felt as if I was living from paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, it becomes a norm. It doesn't really bother you as much because you feel as if, and I'm speaking from my experience, but you feel as if, well, I have enough to last me until almost Thursday at 11:59, and then I'm good.
Right.
And you go through that same anticipation feeling all over again every time you get paid. And so I learned to stop doing so much like eating out.
Mm-hmm.
That if you kind of reduce that and actually just do your things at the house, that would save a lot of money, because all of that does add up. to be
Yeah,
honest.
what I find with most people, the biggest issue I find with most people in their money is they don't have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
No one writes out their bills. No one puts together a budget. So I have a budget in Google Drive and I access it very frequently. I can access it from my phone. I can access it on my computer. And every 2 weeks, I tell my money what to do. This goes to savings. This goes to tithing. This goes to bills, utilities, etc. This goes to piano lessons and hair and nails, literally everything, lunch money, allowance, all those things are in my budget. And so as I see things change, I adjust. So nothing should catch you by surprise. And
Hmm.
if you want to eat out, you give yourself a budget for eating out. And then when that $100 is gone or $50 is gone or whatever it is, that you decide, you stop. But like, just imagine. So, for instance, if you spend $100 a month eating out, but you don't have a Roth IRA, if you take that same $100, put it in your Roth IRA, and let it sit for 40 years, you'll be a millionaire, right? Give or take a couple dollars. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't do the calculation on it. But that's money that you're just throwing away. You're eating up, right? So if you take that and you say, you know what? I'm gonna use my grocery budget and I'm gonna cook and I'm gonna make this deposit into my Roth IRA so that when I'm 65 or when I'm this, I'll have some money. It's a much different situation. It's a much different position. And so I encourage everybody just to do a budget.
Hmm.
You would be surprised how much money you have because you have Amazon coming out and Target. And I know you like Target. I know you like Target. I already know it. I already know it. Um, because Target speaks to you, right? You go into Target and Target just tell you what to buy. It just tell you stuff.
Mm.
Um,
Let
I
the
love
church
being
say
paper
amen.
towel myself, so I just somebody said good evening. Good evening, Tracy. So I really just want people to write it down because you'll be surprised. Every time I work with somebody and I say, okay, we're gonna get you out of debt, we're gonna do this, we're gonna make this happen. They're like, I don't make enough, I don't have enough. And then when we look at it, they do, they always do. I've
Hmm.
not met one person that has not had what they needed, right?
Right.
But um, everybody is better with a plan. You would not get on a flight without the pilot having a flight plan. There has to be a flight plan on file with the FAA for that plane to take off and land. Somebody has to think through where are we going, who are we going past, are we flying over New Mexico, are we flying over Texas, what are we doing? So we start our month off with no plan.
Mm. So if we have no plan, then what are we
You're going to
doing?
get no results.
Right.
How do you know where your destination is? Someone said release some of those subscription services. True. But let's think about it. Like, how much can you watch? Right. But it
Right.
is simply you telling your money what to do. Right.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
Telling your money what to do. And the word that you said earlier at the beginning, discipline. Like that, you really have to be disciplined. And I think, I mean, I'm not for sure how long it will take, but we have to be consistent. And I say we because I'm speaking to
Yeah.
myself
Mhm.
and for my husband too. I'm speaking for both of us. So I'm gonna say we have to be consistent. So
Right.
with the budget, do we just write down all of the bills that we're spending for the month? Because you even mentioned hair and nails, every little thing that you um
Yeah.
spend, we need to write all of that down.
Yeah. Because otherwise, how do you know where you want to change? Right.
Right.
So, so when you look at it, or are you spending too much in one category? Right. So when I had one couple sit down with me and we tallied up what they spent a month, and I was like, how much do you spend eating out? And they're like, probably $400 or $500. When we added it up, it was about 1,000.
Uh Okay.
So then there's $500 or $600 that you could have been using to pay off your mortgage early, to
Mm-hmm.
pay an extra car note, to save for college, because we'll send these kids to college and put them back in the financial aid line that you got out of 30 years ago. You knew
Right.
that child was going to college when they showed you the little footprint in the on the ultrasound. You knew the boy had to go to school.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So then we buy what we want and we beg for what we need.
Oh, that's deep. Ouch. Did y'all feel that? I feel like she just cut us. Like,
Well, I'm gonna give credit to my friend Davina's mother. Her name is Dorothy Tony in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and she told us that when we were kids. She said, "Y'all buy what y'all want, and beg for what you need." And it's true, right?
mm-hmm.
So we'll go and buy whatever we want, and then when something comes up, we're like, "Oh, let me go see." You know. So I just I think we have to be more responsible, because if you think about it like this is how I get paid 26 times a year, right?
Right.
I have 26 decision-making opportunities to change the trajectory of my family. I have 26 decision-making opportunities to break generational curses. I have 26 decision-making opportunities a year to create wealth for myself. I want to sleep at night. I don't want to worry about this. So I know summer is coming, right? So my budget has enough for summer light bills, because summer light bills in Houston are car notes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
I budget the highest amount possible. And then in the winter, I use that money for home improvements. I may buy me some new curtains. I may buy a new bedspread. Because I got a break in the winter. But
Right.
I know in the summer, when it comes, it's already budgeted for. I don't have to run around and rob Peter to pay Paul to get it done. So it's just having a plan. And I don't know why planning is so difficult for people. If I told you, if you sit here and do a plan with me for 2 years, you can change your financial life, why wouldn't you do the plan?
Oh, why wouldn't you? I would
You
say
have a syllabus. You have a syllabus for a class,
no.
right?
That's
Has to
true.
tell you how you're gonna graduate.
That's true. That's true. I
Yeah,
would say fear. People wouldn't do it because they're afraid. Because wait, are you gonna take away from what I need? Like, what if I see this Coach bag? I don't even have a Coach bag, but I'm just throwing it out
right.
there. But what if I see this bag that I want? And am I gonna be able to get that? Like, if I just want it and it's not in my budget, then what?
Well, see, this is the thing. Nobody likes short-term discomfort, so we want everything now.
Mm-hmm.
So you can buy the Coach bag now and never get upgraded, or you can save your money and you can buy Louis Vuitton and Gucci for the rest of your life. Budget for a minute and ball for a lifetime. Budget for a minute. No one wants short-term discomfort. Nobody wants to. No, I gotta have my Starbucks coffee. I gotta have my this, and you spending $200 a month on coffee. I gotta have my mimosas. I gotta have my brunch on Saturday, and this and that. And you're always going to be working.
Mm-hmm.
You're always going to be beholden, because when you have debt, you are in you are indebted to somebody else. We don't even give ourselves a chance to accept freedom.
Mm.
It is so much freedom to be able to pick up your purse and go where you want to go and go home if you want to go home. But we don't give ourselves enough time to shape the disciplined financial muscle that we need. So then we have to have these conversations with our kids. Well, I know you want to go to this school, but mama, we don't have the money for this. So you're going to have to go here. And then we got to take their dreams and, massage them to what fits us, because we
Mm.
just simply weren't organized and disciplined for just a little while.
Just a little while. So only to yes, budget for a minute and ball for a lifetime.
All for a
So
lifetime.
so with you said 2 years. So when you're sitting down with someone, you're planning their budget or you're planning their financial plan for at least 2 years and then make
Yeah,
some.
sometimes it takes. I mean, like I have one client. So we started on her budget, and we were going through, and she's completely debt free now, but she had 15 credit cards, and so I said, well, let's put them in order from smallest to largest, and let's see where we can start. And so once we did the budget, she was like, I don't have enough to do this, and she had a big chunk of money left over. And so I said, why don't we just pay this one off? And she was like, huh? Never occurred. You don't have to pay the minimum payment. You can pay it off, right? And so, but you first had to have a look at the money and see what was available for debt freedom, right? And so, if we are, but it just depends. Do you want to be well, or do you want to be wealthy? Do you want to be a millionaire, or do you want to watch them and admire them from afar? Because it is possible for you to be one yourself. It is possible.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. It is possible. Now today, today is Tuesday, right?
Yes.
And a lot of people are, well, I don't know if people are stressing or not, but some people may be, because it's tax season and taxes are due.
Taxes are due.
Yes. Do you get any tax advice in regards to, like, when you're filing and I have this large sum of money that I have to pay back to the government? Do you tend to give some insight in that, of like, because that can be a big budget change as well too?
So yeah, I will say this. One, I think with taxes, the tax code can be so complicated. I would say hire a professional. And so oftentimes we invest in now this is something that is definitely prevalent in America, and definitely prevalent in communities of color. We don't like to spend our money on things we can't see. So we like, jewelry, clothes, cars. And if anybody knows me, I like all of the above. But you can best believe, if I have spent money on something you can see, I have put money away where you can't see it before I bought that thing, right? But it's hard for us to invest in financial advice. It's hard for us to, now we'll buy $100 dress or purse or whatever. If I say it's $100 an hour to me, for me, I don't have. If you tell me $100 is going to change my life, I'm gonna give you that $100. But that's hard for us to do. So I would say, consult a professional and say, hey, I keep having this, this large sum of money owed. How can I change this around for myself? I would do that. And number two, I would tell this audience that the W-4 changed in 2020. And the IRS changed the way they withhold taxes, because they were trying to get rid of these huge tax returns, right? So they were trying to level out how withholdings come out, so that they wouldn't be waiting all year for their money and you wouldn't have these big refunds. So most people probably need to make some adjustments to their W-4, because they probably have an old withholding schedule. And this withholding table is penalizing them, so they end up owing at the end of the year. Then you have taxes and penalties, or you have to make estimated payments. So I would say, spend some time and some money and go talk to somebody who really knows taxes. Take them everything that you have. If you have rental property, if you have this or that, take it and say, hey, give me some good financial advice, so next year I can end, not owing as much, or breaking even, which is really the goal.
I like that. Now, I bet a lot of people didn't know that the code had changed. Now, see, that's a whole nother segment. I will not lose focus, because now we don't know the information, but that's okay. Let me stay focused. So with the Dividend Diva, they can consult with you personally.
Yes.
I know that you've done some workshops. What are
I love it.
What are some workshops that you've facilitated before?
I love workshops. I really have a passion for college students. I love to get to students before they make those critical mistakes. But I'll teach you from 9 to 99. So I've done workshops at sorority conferences, debutante classes. I've done them at universities, Georgia Tech, Sarah Lawrence University, Marquette, you name it, Texas Southern, Prairie View, any school that invites me. San Diego State, I had a huge crowd at San Diego State. So I'll go pretty much anywhere. A lot of I had a conference last month with the single mothers organization here in Houston, churches, women's groups, my church, the Women Who Win conference, just about anybody who will let me. I'm a partner with my church's credit union, so we do a lot of financial literacy and education at Light Commerce Credit Union here in Houston. So I'm just passionate about it. I just love to help people help people do better. And no matter what I teach you is not going to change my finances. What God has for me is for me. But I believe that he'll bless me if I use my gifts and talents to help you. So I'm just passionate about helping people, do better.
I love that. So we can definitely, if you need to schedule her, you got this. She can travel anywhere. Trust me, she has no problems traveling. So
But really the pandemic has helped quite a bit. I have clients literally all over the world. I have clients on other continents, but
okay.
Yeah, through the magic of Zoom and Teams, I don't have to travel very far. And Google Docs is an amazing platform because we can document and make changes in your budget, and we can see it real time. So I've tried to create this business model that's private and comfortable, that is results driven. And I have a litany of testimonies of people who are debt free. I have, a single mother in New York who has literally no debt, no house note, no car note, no student loan, no credit card. And she's a single mom. So it's possible, but we don't talk about our money. So you don't know who's blessed and who's not. And then those of us who have it, we won't tell you how we did it, so you gotta figure it out on your own, make all these mistakes. And so, if they're willing to work with me, I'm willing to tell them what I know.
Oh, well, that's awesome. And see, this is the purpose of Share the Tea LLC and Share the Tea Tuesdays, because we have to share information with people. Why not? Why keep it to yourself? It works so much better when you can bless other people, and it just comes full circle. It always does. It never fails. Never fails. So what is your website? Let give the people where they can find you, or where can they follow you.
Oh, I'm so easy. So it's www.thedividenddiva.com. You can email me at thedividenddiva@gmail.com. Facebook, The Dividend Diva, like the page, on Instagram at The Dividend Diva. It's The Dividend Diva. It's really easy. But if you are interested in having, you can inbox me on Messenger, on Facebook, or shoot me an email, thedividenddiva@gmail.com, and say, hey, I'm interested in, seeing how we can change my finances. And I haven't met a person yet that I can't help and that hasn't been helped. But you have to be ready. You have to be disciplined. And, it takes, it's building a muscle, which you and I have learned on another platform about our health and fitness. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it.
Worth it. It is worth it. And it's all about the mindset. We're going to shout out to Nicole.
Yes, it is about the mindset. But, just to share with people that it's possible. And I don't know that we get to see Black middle class or working people that we think are wealthy. A lot of the people that are celebrities are in debt, and we find that out later, right? We find out, oh gosh, they had this, they had that. But I haven't had, I haven't had credit card debt since 2002.
Oh, wow.
I haven't had a car note in probably maybe about 15 years.
Oh,
I
wow.
owe nothing. I don't have a mortgage. I don't have any car notes. I don't have any student loans. I can send my kids to school. My son goes to school in the fall, and it's ready, and the money is set aside. So I just think sometimes it's good to see somebody that looks like you, that still gets up and goes to work every day. I have 26 decision-making opportunities. And so I take those opportunities seriously, and I try to make good decisions, not only for me, but for my children's children. Because if I do it right, I should be leaving them an inheritance.
I love that. I love that. Well, I'm definitely going to have to schedule you to come and do a financial workshop in the great state of Oklahoma. You know, we right up the street, two stop
I
signs.
would love to come to Oklahoma. That's one of the states I haven't been to.
Oh,
I,
okay.
I've worked with, several regions. I've been to Georgia several times. Wisconsin, that's my home. I've been there a couple of times to do workshops. I would love to touch Oklahoma. And I love to touch undergrads too. I love when the students come and say, I heard your voice in the student loan line. I only got what I needed. I didn't get a big refund check. And one of the undergrads called me last year and she said, so Karen, she graduated from TSU. She said, I only owe $13,000.
Hmm.
Bravo.
That's
She said,
good.
she said, I got my new job. I'm gonna stay in my college apartment. I'm gonna sign the lease again. I'm gonna pay $1,000 a month, and in a year I'll pay off my. I'm like, this is my child.
That's
This is what we're talking about, right? So I love to get students because then they don't have to make all these mistakes in 20, 30, 40, like we did, paying off credit cards and doing all that kind of stuff. So I love any audience, but I especially love young people.
okay. Okay,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. Well, this is a bust. We're gonna put this in the future because I know
Yeah.
we have busy schedule. So I'll start planning and working on this.
I love it.
So we'll be on the lookout for some upcoming workshops in Oklahoma. We got to bring you to Oklahoma. Yeah.
Yes.
So I have another question
Okay.
because now I know you. Well, you know that I made sure this hobby of mine into a business.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're running a small business or, um, getting started,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll be truthful, I did not have a financial plan. I was just
Mm-hmm.
out here just playing around, sharing things, talking to people. And then
Mm-hmm.
it said, hey, you need to make this a business. Why don't you turn this into something a little bit more instead of just having fun with it? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I did. And so now it's like this is expensive. And so my thought is I don't want to feel like I'm way over my head. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so what would be some guidance that you can give like a new entrepreneur like myself?
So again, it goes back to planning. I
Planning.
don't know what we're doing without having a business plan, right?
Hmm.
If you go to a meeting and they don't have an agenda, that's a red flag for me. You
Right.
didn't plan for me to come. You didn't take the time to think through what you wanted to accomplish with this hour of my time. So I'm weary of people that don't have an agenda for a meeting, right?
Right.
I'm weary of people who have a family and don't have a plan, right? How are we going to pay for this? How are we going to do that? So when you have a business, so now that you've started, I would say as a new entrepreneur, I would stop and I would say, okay, now what is the goal of this business? How much income do I want to bring in? What are my possible revenue streams? Am I trying to get enough followers to where I'm paid? Am I trying to, look for advertising? Am I going to have a share the tea luncheon that brings in revenue, and that, where the podcast stays free? You have to have a plan. Let me study some other successful podcasts and let me see how I can be at least revenue neutral, right? If I bring you on, you do this so you have to figure out like what the process is for your business, right? And then how are you going to be profitable? So my business doesn't have a lot of overhead, right?
Right.
It's a service oriented business. Now there are some people who don't like to pay for services. They rather do something else. But the clients that I have are loyal. I have some clients that do not leave me. Now they're out of debt and now we're working on wealth. We're buying stocks and buying rental properties and doing other stuff. But you have to have a plan. You have to have a plan for your business. We meal plan, we meal prep. What am I going to eat tomorrow? Usually we get in less trouble if we have a plan as to what we're going to eat, right?
Right.
So I just think it's never too late to pause. It's never too late to do good. So that's my mother saying, right? It's never too late to do good. So I think I would pause as the business is growing and say, okay, do I have the LLC? Do I have the right business account? Is it charging me too many fees? What are my professional obligations? Do I need to hire a CPA to do my taxes? I think you need to, just take some time, get a sample business plan, and then go through and kind of give yourself a little guidance in there. And then you'll find that your business will grow because you've taken the time and kind of, you know, put some structure behind your ideas.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
Yep.
Thank you. And I will say I have printed off a business plan, a business. I'm gonna mess up her name, but um, she sends different business plans to small entrepreneurs, and so she did send me one. And
Okay.
I have met with a business attorney and
Yes.
just listening to like contracts and all of that, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, it can be very overwhelming.
Mhm.
When you have mentioned earlier that you're putting your money in something that's going to help you in the long run. So when you're doing contracts and
Mhm.
advertisement and all those things, this is something that's going to help you for years to come. And so I try not to think about the dollar sign that's behind it, but my
But this is the thing: you spend money all the time on things that don't bring you value.
that's true.
Target, you spend money all the time on things that don't bring you value.
That's true.
We have to learn how to invest things that aren't on our back, right? So
Hmm.
every female has a glam squad. You have the person that does your nails, you have the person that does your hair, you have the person that styles you, or whatever, your favorite salesperson at your favorite store. We got this in. You need a financial glam squad. You need an attorney, you need a CPA, you need a financial advisor, you need a financial glam squad. Let me make my money pretty. Honey,
Right.
I'm the Dividend DIVA. Let me get this money fine. Let's get some commas, right?
Right.
So yeah, let's get some commas. And one isn't enough.
Mm. Hmm.
You need a couple more commas, right?
Right.
So you need a financial glam squad too.
Oh, I love that. Okay. See, I needed that. I need that boost of encouragement because
Yeah, I mean, you want a good real estate agent, right?
right.
You want people on your team. I have an amazing real estate agent. She's my cousin. I'll just throw a shout out. Her name is Sonia Gaines, best in class in Houston, Texas. But I have a great real estate agent. So when I find out, hey, this is going on, I want to buy land out here, I have somebody that I can call, that I have a relationship with, that knows me. She has a relationship with a great broker. We can get it financed like this. We can do. You need to put people in place for things other than depreciating assets. And I
Mm-hmm.
will tell this to this audience, which is most likely a lot of Black women, is that when I was at Rice and I was studying for the certified financial planner, doing the coursework there, they said, don't waste your time um, with a clientele that is highly leveraged in personal use assets.
Why? Why? That's
Personal use assets is uh, clothes, shoes, jewelry, because they're not going to invest. They don't have any money left to invest.
but
But most of those are communities of color, right?
right, right.
Yeah. So don't even waste your time with that, because they're not going to invest in your business. And to
Hmm.
some extent, that is true. It's a hard sell. Most people come to me when they've hit rock bottom, when everything is at its worst. I've this, I've that, I can't take it. So it doesn't have to be that way, but
Right.
you do have to change your mentality. If you start, this is my joke for people on social media. If we had to change our profile picture to our credit score, who would we be?
Uh-oh.
So,
Sorry.
but that is the most meaningful number to you, because that number drives what you pay for your car loan, what you'll pay for a mortgage, what you'll pay for a student loan if you have to help your kids go to school. That number drives your insurance rate.
Hmm.
how high of a risk are you? So that's the most important number. But because nobody can see it, we don't worry about it as much.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And what's that other number? I know what we keep talking. What's that other number? Is it FICA?
FICO score, that's your credit score. It
So
is.
why they make it sound like it's two different things?
Well, there are different companies that do it. There's like Equifax, TransUnion, but the FICO score is an algorithm. It's called the Fair Isaacs Corporation score, right?
Okay.
Um, and I say this is the Dividend Diva here. I call it the financial integrity and credit observation score. I can tell you I can tell what kind of financial integrity you have if you tell me your credit score. I can tell you you're disorganized. I can tell you if you don't have a budget. I can tell you if you pay your bills late. I can tell you if you're overextended. All I need is your score. I don't need your first or last name. I can tell you everything I need to know.
Just by that score.
And if I can see the trail of the score over time, I can tell you. Now, some people have a great credit score and they may have an interruption. They may get laid off and you'll see their credit dip. And then when they are back and restored, credit goes right back up. So that's just the loss of income. But then you see some people that no matter, they've been employed the whole time and the score has, been traditionally challenged. And so that tells you everything you need. So it's, I call it the financial integrity and credit observation score, but it is the Fair Isaacs Corporation, the name of that company that built the algorithm that tells us what our credit score is.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we can have a whole nother,
a whole conversation
about it. Right. I do want to say thank you because I know we have something else to do because we're always busy. But I do want to say thank you very much, Soror, my friend, my neighbor, the Dividend Diva. I appreciate you coming on Strategy Tuesdays to enlighten and encourage and educate my audience and even the people not on a podcast but on my social media. The purpose of Let's Talk is always teaching, advocating, listening, and gaining knowledge. And I've gained a lot of knowledge. I have at least 5 sheets of paper here, and I'm gonna have to put them all together on one. But I hope that you have gained something from this discussion because budget for a minute and ball for a lifetime. Come on, we need to get this together. So young folks, old folks, senior citizen folks, it doesn't matter. Gen Z, millennium, whomever you are, she said $9.99. So she can provide the service to you. Make sure that you go and you follow the Dividend Diva on all social media. She's on Facebook and Instagram. Go to her website. She has published books, so go there, order, support, and just get a consultation from her if you just have some questions. Don't be scared. Don't be nervous. And do what you need to do and have that plan. The budget plan for at least 2 years.
And shame and regret are what keep most people away. They don't, we've learned not to talk about our financial business. Mm-hmm. It often keeps us away. So we perish because of lack of knowledge. So who you are today isn't who you're going to be tomorrow. You just need information to change the trajectory of what you're doing with your finances. So don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. We all make mistakes. And so we all have areas of strength and areas of opportunity. So I have an area of strength in finance, but I have a coach for my health and fitness because I have an area of opportunity with weight because my weight fluctuates probably like some people's credit score. So we all have room for growth and development. Mm-hmm. And if I use my strength to benefit you and you use your strengths to benefit me, we all win.
I love that. Look, I didn't have to ask her outgoing words. She just summed it up right for me. Perfect. All right, so make sure you guys go and follow. Don't forget to tune in every Tuesday. Also follow me. Follow Share the Tea LLC on all social media channels at Share the Tea with V. And don't forget to be intentional, be insightful, and be impactful in everything that you do. And share this information with someone else. Just save it and go ahead and reach out to my girl, okay? And tell her V sent you. She know me. Trust me. All right, well, Sora, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And until next time, everyone, you guys be safe. Talk to you later. Bye bye.
Bye bye.